Let's take a closer look into how DNA gives rise to protein. And never forget that proteins are, in fact, the most important molecules. In order to participate in a physiological or biological process or a pathway, uh, DNA, neither DNA nor RNA, or in fact, genes also, they do not participate in such processes. It's protein which participates in several biological uh, processes. So it's important to understand at a very high level that how DNA gives rise to protein. So as you can see in the top, you have the DNA, and you can see several blocks are actually you know arranged up after one another with some gaps in between. And the gaps encode, in this particular picture, the gaps encode introns or parts of the DNA which are not in that sense functional. They have other activities which are later on discovered, but they are, in layman's term, understood as parts of the DNA which are not functional. And you have exons. Exons are a relatively smaller portion of the entire DNA, although it doesn't look like that in this particular picture, but in fact they're a smaller fraction of the DNA compared to the introns. And the exons are small building blocks. We can think of each of this building blocks is a Lego. So these Lego structures join with each other uh, to create gene. So this trend. So in this particular picture, you can see that the introns are not present. So the process in which the introns are cut out is called splicing. And the splicing can happen in different ways. In fact, for a given gene, different sequences, the exons can arrange in different sequences, or in fact, to some extent, different exons can also attach with each other to form isoforms of a given gene. So after splicing, we have the mRNA. So the DNA resides inside nucleus. The pre-mRNA, which is a part of the DNA, copied as it is, that also happens inside nucleus. So this process is called transcription. From DNA to RNA, pre-mRNA, this process is called transcription, and there is a specific mechanism. I'm not getting into that, but so creation of pre-mRNA up to that level happens inside the nucleus, and then the gene is spliced and they come out in the cytoplasm of the cell, where they subsequently produce proteins. Every gene gives birth to a different protein, and the process in which genes create proteins is called translation. And the most important organelle in a cell that is responsible for this translation is the ribosome.